I just also think that, and I've said this before, I will say it again, Patrick is in a place where Patrick is judged against himself at his best, and every other player in the league is judged against him at his worst. Like we are not saying Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are 99s because they're better than peak Patrick Mahomes, because neither one of them has had a season anywhere close to peak Patrick Mahomes. We are saying they're 99s because they were better than Patrick Mahomes at his worst.
No, we're not. No, we're not. That's not the conversation. That's the conversation that you're trying to create right now, but that's not the conversation. That's not the conversation. I've already done the deep dives and showed you, because Patrick Mahomes' best season ever, will be the 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns or whatever, and I did an epic deep dive into that and talked about all the yak and the support system that he had, coaching, roster, all that type of stuff. Whether you want to use 2018, 22, whatever you want, both work. And I showed you that Joe Burrow actually had a better season this past year than what Patrick Mahomes had in 2018 or 22. Just a fact, man. Just a fact. But no, what we're saying right now is that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are better quarterbacks than Patrick Mahomes. You want to keep just living in this peak of what Patrick Mahomes was, specifically in 2018, more than anything else. Do you guys know what year it is right now? It's 2025. It was in 2018. This is 2025. That was 2018. 2018 was also the year that nobody knew what Patrick Mahomes was going to bring the NFL. You know how we always talk about, like, film. Oh, no, sophomore slump, this, that. Okay. Well, now, as time has gone on, Patrick Mahomes does not look as great as he once was. And yet, Lamar Jackson is getting better year after year after year. Josh Allen is getting better year after year after year. Joe Burrow is getting better year after year after year. You can't necessarily say that about Patrick Mahomes. And if you want to complain about roster, again, just all of these guys have their issues with roster. Okay? So it's not just that. Now, I'm not telling you that I think that Patrick Mahomes is in this epic decline, or that if you give Patrick Mahomes a better roster, that he's incapable of putting back up those 2018 numbers. Like, I'm not saying that at all. I think Patrick Mahomes is elite. I think Patrick Mahomes is an all-time great. If it was up to me, I would just say that all four of these quarterbacks are all rated the exact same. They're all great. They're all special. I put them all in the exact same category. That is how I view these quarterbacks. No question about it. But if you're going to back me in the corner and say you absolutely, positively right now have to rate and rank these quarterbacks, which is what a Madden essentially is doing right now, then yeah, he has not been as good as Lamar Burrow, or Josh Allen. And here's the thing, because you want to complain about roster. Nick Wright himself, literally in this very episode, said that Lamar Jackson does not have great receivers. He's been saying this all week, saying that Flowers is a below average wide receiver one. That, the tight end situation, the wide receiver two, that, like, everyone's just below average for their role. And yet Lamar Jackson, though, is still obviously putting up great numbers. Better than Patrick Mahomes' numbers, that's for sure. Nick Wright absolutely believes that Rashee Rice is a better wide receiver than Zay Flowers. And yet in 23, and definitely Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. And obviously Harbaugh, or whatever offensive coordinator of the season you want to use, is obviously going to be not as good as Andy Reid. And yet over these last couple of years, in 24, you can explain, obviously, because there was more injuries. But then, like, what about 23? And you're like, well, Rashee Rice was a rookie. When was Zay Flowers a rookie? Oh, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry wasn't on the team. And it was like, who was the better quarterback? Who had the better year? Who was the MVP? We know those answers. So, like, these things have to matter. And again, don't come at me with head-to-head. Because Patrick Mahomes has a losing record to Joe Burrow head-to-head. Does that not matter? Jalen Hurts outdueled Patrick Mahomes in back-to-back Super Bowls and crushed him in this last Super Bowl. So again, if you want to use head-to-head, Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes, and so is Joe Burrow. So you can't just say, whoa, Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl, or he beat Lamar in the playoffs in 23. Okay, Jalen Hurts beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is better then. That's why you got to be careful with the logic. But we're not going to invent a scenario where Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are only considered great or better than Patrick Mahomes because they're only better than him at his worst. That, my friends, is an insane statement to make. And there's just no validity to that whatsoever. It's nonsensical. It really is. Patrick Mahomes had a bad O-line, and that's why he struggled. And yet Joe Burrow had a bad O-line, like the worst in the NFL, and yet played out of his mind. And all he did was have one wide receiver for the whole season in Jamar Chase. T. Higgins missed a third of the season. And we'll just explain that away. We'll say, oh, that wasn't special because he had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and he didn't make the playoffs. Like it was his fault. Even though, again, like I said in that deep dive, if he got just even a similar rate of yards after catch as Patrick Mahomes, he would have set the record for the most passing yards of all time in NFL history. And if his defense was even just remotely good, if his defense was comparable to that of what Patrick Mahomes had in 2018, Joe Burrow would have won the division, most likely locked up the 1 seed, and then who knows? Like, these are the differences of when we use team success. Even individual stats are often team success. Like Nick Wright himself admitted that 22, there was a lot of dink and dunk and just a ton of yak. He said that. So if that's the case, then the 1 year that we want to just really credit him for just these amazing all-time great plays would then be technically 2018, even though that was also a yak monster. And again, you had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill in their prime, with Patrick Mahomes, no one having any film on him whatsoever. Like, that would probably be a pretty big advantage too. So it's more impressive to me to see how you're playing right now. Like, 2018 is like, that was your first year on the scene. And Andy Reid had a full year to figure out, all right, this is what I'm going to do with this kid right now. Talk about an advantage. And if Josh Allen had an amazing team, and Lamar had an amazing team, and Joe Burrow actually had protection as well as the weapons that he had, and just a better defense, and Patrick Mahomes had an amazing team, there is no reliable or consistent, there's no reliable or accurate way to be confident that you would say, well, clearly Patrick Mahomes would be better than Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. None. They all had an equally great team. One played for the Detroit Lions, one played for the Philadelphia Eagles, one played for, whatever. There would be no reliable way to say, well, clearly Joe Burrow will be inferior to Patrick. Why? According to what? Like, that's what I would like to know. According to what? And then again, this is where we then start to have to then dive into the whole, coaching, roster construction, game management, defenses, etc., etc. But you're not going to tell me that Patrick Mahomes, who's had down years for the last 2 years, while Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are balling that they're not allowed to be ahead of Patrick Mahomes because of 2018. It's like, that doesn't really make sense. And when there was a sniff of the Chiefs having a banged up roster or imperfect roster, O-line, whatever, it then led to them getting, Patrick Mahomes specifically individually not playing great, especially in that first half of the season, especially even before all the injuries even piled up, before Rashee Rice went down, etc. And then obviously in the Super Bowl. And again, so you still then want to say, but they made it to the Super Bowl. He made it to the Super Bowl. Again, be careful with how you want to apply that logic. Because Nick Wright said, the Baltimore Ravens, inferior roster, inferior this, that, no good, wide receivers, tight ends, etc. And he led his team to the AFC Championship game. So, like, getting a team to the Super Bowl and getting annihilated and humiliated is apparently just light years better than getting your team to the AFC Championship game and losing just by a touchdown. I don't know about that. Don't know about that. Doesn't really make sense. Doesn't hold up to scrutiny here. But it's okay to admit that Josh Allen is elite, that Lamar Jackson is elite, that Joe Burrow is elite, that Patrick Mahomes is elite. And it's okay to admit that right now, in 2025, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are playing higher quality football than Patrick Mahomes. It's okay. It's okay. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Is this disrespectful to Patrick? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.